Welcome to the Drew Yari Show.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Wednesday. It's 8 o'clock on the dot. PM Central Time here in lovely San Antonio. I am Drew. And with me, as always,
Justin from Spinebuster Tees and spinebustertees.com, and also live on YouTube as well.
All right, and hello to everybody on YouTube. But it's a nice time to be in San Antonio. The weather's nice. Getting ready for summer, and it's a good time to be a Spurs fan again.
Yep,
got the #1 draft pick, and it's already destined on who it's going to be. Victor Wembanyama. So it's fun. It's fun times. But did you watch the draft lottery live like everybody else?
Did. Yeah, I saw it live. We got Wemby. I'm glad that when the Pistons went down to 5, I knew our chances rose significantly. When those piece of shit, crappy ass Rockets went down to 4, I knew that we had a great chance at that point. I don't know if you saw video footage. Not trolling, nothing like that, but there was real life video footage of. When Houston got 4, there was a live shot feed on Wemby, and he kind of pumped his fist. He was like, "Thank you."
Well, good. Nobody wants to go to Rockets.
even Wemby said, "No, I don't want to go to that piece of shit franchise in Houston." So he's a Spur already. So
right, I came home right when it happened, and as soon as they got to 5 and it said Detroit, I just went, "Wow." Because Detroit is, they have the worst record in the whole league. And
I mean, over the past 5 years, the team with the worst record in the league doesn't get the #1 pick. So
right. But
I wasn't that surprised.
But still, it was like definitely something for me to say wow to. But in my head, I was like, I'd be fine if it just got top 4. But secretly, I wanted 1. Obviously,
I was good with either 1 or 2. I was honestly, if we didn't get Wemby, but we ended up getting 2, I would have been okay with. I really would have been all right with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. But as soon as I got to those top 2, and it was just the Spurs and Charlotte, my heart was beating pretty fast. And as soon as they announced Charlotte with the #2 pick, I yelled. I just went, yes, yes. And Kyle, I mean, come on. There's only one big star in the draft. Like, you know who they're getting, but it's gonna be fun. Good shit. I know. Again, there's just people that want to do the whole "it was rigged, the Spurs tanked." I'm like, yeah, and
I preached for tanking all year. I was mad. Remember, I was mad when we were winning games. I'm like, why are we winning games? Like, stop it. And luckily, we turn around and we just tank properly. I don't give a shit. Your franchise can be a fucking mediocre franchise for years to come. Because you want to try to win games and try to make the playoffs. And this is why teams like Minnesota and I don't want to say OKC. They're going to be a lot better, but teams like Minnesota and Atlanta and just teams like that, even New Orleans to a degree where they think that they have a great roster to compete with, and just something happens and they always get like a mid-level pick where someone that comes in, they never ever actually turn around. So, hey. All I gotta say is, if your team didn't get #1, hey, I'm sorry. If you're the Houston Rockets or Dallas Mavericks, go fuck yourselves, go to hell.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Hey, Maurice. But I guess we can start the news. Like if you guys are here for the pre-show, kind of a very slow news week, except for maybe 1 or 2 things, and it's gonna be a very short show tonight. Maybe like an hour and a half. Depends on how long we go. But I'm gonna start it off with a video done by someone we know pretty well, very controversial figure in wrestling. So I'm gonna play it real quick.
One more before I go, really quick. The parasocial relationship a lot of fringe wrestling fans have with certain people is really unhealthy. I get the tribalism, like it's fun to root for your team, but picking sides seems a little silly. You don't know me, you don't know anybody else, so, just go touch grass.
And if anyone doesn't know, that was CM Punk. He posted that on his Instagram story, along with this quote, because Punk likes to... He's a fan of putting up text on quotes. So he put this: "Look, everyone, Brian Alvarez doesn't like it when misinformed internet trolls make up rumors about him, so please stop making up rumors and stories for clicks while Brian makes up rumors and stories for clicks, okay? He's married, for God's sakes. By God, that man has a family. Brian Alvarez, shut the fuck up and stop talking about me, challenge day one." End quote. So what are your thoughts on that? On everything CM Punk said?
I mean, as he said, she said. I mean, I mean, I agree with him in this video. This whole tribalism thing with wrestling fans, and hey, it's cool. It's cool, one over the other, but just completely picking sides to one degree over another is kind of silly. But with the whole Brian Alvarez thing, it's kind of he said, she said. I did see the email too as well. So, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I don't want to get into that situation. I mean, that's far beyond professional wrestling, far beyond the reason why we're here in the first place. Right. It's unnecessary drama to even talk about. But I know the news outlets are going to be out there, and the Fightfuls, and the fucking Cultaholics, and the JDs, and they're all going to fucking talk about it. Oh my God, speculating. At the end of the day, it's in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter to the product. It doesn't matter to, if AEW is going to be better from this or anything like that. At the end of the day, AEW is still going to be AEW, right? And Brian Alvarez is still going to have a job. So, I mean, right. I really don't know. I really don't know why this is becoming a big deal. I think it's because CM Punk said it. It's like, oh, Punk said it, but I don't know. But some things I agree with them on. I do, but just in the grand scheme of things, to me, it doesn't. Doesn't really matter that much.
Right, it doesn't. But and supposedly, I guess the heat between, if you want to call it heat, between Alvarez and Punk is that Punk used to date Maria, and I guess Brian Alvarez dated Maria. If I had to make an educated guess based off of that, because was Brian Alvarez ever?
Maria's not dating either one of them right now. So why are they fighting over of a woman who they have no emotional affection towards that much anymore?
Right.
Maria is married to, Mike Bennett. Well, why are y'all fighting over a woman or not fighting over a woman? I'm not sure if this is what it is, but
it sounds one-sided though. That's my thing.
I don't know. I mean, to me, it doesn't matter.
Right. It really doesn't matter. I mean, this is very much a nothing burger to talk about. But yeah, we'll just kind of skip this because it's kind of nothing. But the big news of the day, AEW Collision officially announced that Warner Brothers Discovery upfronts. After weeks of rumors, it was officially announced today at Warner Brothers Discovery upfront that AEW's newest live 2-hour program, AEW Collision, will premiere on TNT on Saturday, June 17th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central. The roster will boast of several top names, including Samoa Joe, Thunder Rosa, Miro, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Andrade El Idolo, in wake of a rumored brand split. And then just a quote from Tony Khan. So that makes 3 shows for AEW. You got Dynamite, Rampage, and now Collision. So, I mean, that was kind of the eventual announcement that we already knew. We were just waiting for him to say it.
Right.
Punk's name wasn't mentioned, which, makes sense because, it's again, it's like you mentioned, he said, she said, which could be maybe the title for tonight's episode. Like he said, she said is very much like the story of AEW is like Punk wants to come back. Punk doesn't want to come back. Punk is happy with Tony Khan. Punk is not happy with Tony Khan. It's just like a never-ending story of, bullshit. The talk is that Punk had told Khan, Warner Brothers, whoever, to keep his name out of the presentation, so it's more of a surprise, even though it kind of really isn't a surprise at this point. But so we got that to look forward to if you're an AEW fan. But do you think what kind of business do you think this Collision show does for AEW? Do you think it could be good? Do you think it could be bad, or do you think it's just like, oh, it's just another show?
I actually think this is gonna be good because one thing, it's live.
Right.
It's live. This is not like Rampage where it's like at first, like the first couple shows they were live and they were kind of like not necessarily must see, but like you have to at least peep it because it's live. You don't know what's gonna happen and you're afraid that you may miss out on something. This show's live. It's 2 hours. Now, it is on Saturday. A lot of people are going to look. Now, I guarantee you, this is what people are going to do. First Collision. Obviously, this is probably going to be a return of CM Punk, right? I think CM Punk is going to return. He's going to return. He's on a contract with AEW. It's going to be in Chicago. They're not going to do this show for no reason in the Unite Center and not have CM Punk return. Punk was on the initial graphics for Collision, but they took him off because, he hasn't been announced yet to be coming back. So there's that. But regardless of that, though, I think at the end of the day, a lot of people are going to see the first show for Collision, second show, third show, and they see that they have decent ratings for a Saturday, right? Then once it starts to get settled in, and when the shows are, not performing as high as the first few shows, people are going to see it as not necessarily a failure, but they're like, oh, well, there we go, AEW again. Look at this. They're under, 700,000. Now, if they're under 400,000, okay. But at the end of the day, they're always top 5 demos on for Wednesdays, right?
Demos.
They're always top 5 demos, which is actually more important than the actual viewership. Because the actual viewership at the end of the day, I mean, it's an outdated term to look at. It really is. It's very outdated to look at.
Sure.
But we'll see how the show does. Now, as long as they treat this show like WWE SmackDown to WWE's Raw, Dynamite could be the Raw, and Collision could be the SmackDown per se. Great. I really hope that they figure out this thing with Punk and the Elite, and what show is gonna have what guys on there or whatnot. I'm pretty sure they can figure that out. I hope.
Okay, so I can't help but ask. So you'd mentioned about the you said that dirty little word, demos. And you had said, you had also said after that looking at the viewership is very outdated. So explain what you mean by that.
So it's very outdated as far as, because if you back in 1995, right? There was no things like DVRs, very much so internet. These viewerships that we look at now, it doesn't include anybody that has YouTube TV, doesn't include anybody that has DVRs, doesn't include anybody who keeps up, with the pay-per-views online in some sense. It's easier to stream and to illegally get access to these shows now. So if you look at across the board, with the exception of real live sports, not wrestling, everything's down. Everything's down from what it used to be. So, again, you can't just look at the straight viewerships. The demographics the actual demographics is more, how should I say, more useful, more prevalent to a show's success, to a TV spot success over the actual total number of viewers. I mean, and you can look at that. That's just, that goes across the board, not just for wrestling. That goes across the board for anything. You know what I mean? So it's an outdated process.
Kind of disagree. You mentioned some good points that, because I have YouTube TV and I DVR a lot of shit. I mean, my watch list is like backed up with shows that I haven't even watched that I added, and then there's shows that I just, I'm waiting for them to put on. But I'm surprised YouTube TV doesn't come up in that. What do you call it? That what's that thing?
Viewership?
Not viewership. What's like that thing that? Fuck. What are they
ratings?
called?
Nielsen ratings.
Nielsen ratings. There you go. I'm surprised that YouTube TV is not a part of that Nielsen ratings. From what you just told me.
Well, yeah, Nielsen ratings only counts for actual live television, like actual TV cable subscription service.
So they'll count. They'll obviously count Spectrum.
Right.
They'll count. What about Dish Network?
Yeah, sound like Dish. Yeah,
but YouTube TV doesn't count as Dish Network. But,
to my knowledge, no.
So basically, anything that requires, like a contract or like a cable,
a TV subscription. Yeah.
Oh, that's wild to think about. So, okay, I'll give you that. That actually is a good point. But I don't know. Just I still do take into account TV ratings. I mean, obviously, I'm wrong because AEW does barely will make it in the millions. Whereas WWE, who's over, in WWE's case, they've had like a 30, 40-year head start. Whereas AEW is kind of the new kid on the block, and despite what I think, people love it. So, and it's another company that people can watch. And Kyle saying, "Rest in peace, superstar Billy Graham."
Yeah, he just passed away. It's coming through on Twitter right now.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, he wasn't doing well over the past. Wasn't over the well the past few weeks, and they pretty much said it was inevitable for him at this point. So rest in peace, a legend. Rest in peace, a innovator for sure. Without superstar Billy Graham, that probably wouldn't be no Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, or anybody like that. So.
Yeah, same thing with Hulk Hogan. There'd be no Hogan.
Yeah, definitely Hogan for her. Yeah.
Yeah, well, a lot of Hogan. Pretty much like Hogan was almost like a clone of Billy Graham, but rest in peace to a legend. But I guess in closing, just things are different with television now. I mean, obviously, because you still got people who will use the cord and use actual cable services, and you got people who want to use Sling, who want to use YouTube TV or FiOS.
Yeah. I didn't even mention anything like Sling or fucking, just other internet-based cable services. They should have something separate. In my opinion, should have something separate for streamed ratings or streamed access. But
they should.
Yeah, I mean, but
right, because kind of going a little off topic, you'll see a lot of these internet celebrities where it's they get over 10 million views on YouTube, and it's or they'll get over 10 million views on Twitch. That's considered a celebrity or a famous person or somebody to look up to in the year of 2023, which again, not knocking. I mean, make that money. I mean, if you can get famous somehow that doesn't involve hurting people or doing drugs, I'm fine with it. But unfortunately, it's just I don't want to say unfortunately, but that's just the times we live in. That's how you can get respect. So, but yeah, Collision coming up next month on the 17th. So, got another show to look forward to.
Yeah. And also with that too as well, just to continue on this Collision topic. I mean, you got Thunder Rosa coming back, Miro coming back. Andrade coming back, I don't think that's a coincidence because now they're going to be on separate brands from, from like the Britt Bakers and the Sammys and, and Mural's actually be able to come back now too as well. So, to me, I think this is great for the talent across the board. Gives a little bit some of the time that we don't get to see as much, a little bit more time now. You get 4 hours of TV each week that's dedicated to your top talent. And, I think at the end of the day, I think it's a win-win across the board for, not just the talent, but also as well, the fans of AEW as well, because they get to see some of the guys that they haven't seen in a while. But also, kind of, I believe we talked about it last week as well. This is a win for WWE because, we haven't got any numbers yet on their deal for AEW. The rumor is it's $1 billion, but, this could give WWE's next, contract or whoever they're with, right? Some say, maybe they want to do, NBC again, NBC Universal or, Fox or wherever TV rights deal that comes up. That they may end up getting $1.5 billion, $2 billion. So, yeah, man, it's with this here with AEW, I think a lot of people are there. A lot of people are just like, oh, it's just another show, rather than seeing the ramifications for this, for not just AEW but for WWE, and both positively as well. So, yeah, I don't know what you think about that.
I mean, the way you describe it, currently the story that Kevin Nash told when him and Scott Hall went to WCW, and then WWF started doing the fake Diesel and fake Razor Ramon thing, and WCW actually thought that was Kevin Nash and Scott Hall going back. So when they decided to renegotiate, they decided to pay him a lot more, and give them the money that they asked for. And so when we were watching the monitor of the fake Diesel and fake Razor Ramon showing up, they were just like, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall are like, well, we already signed. Like that kind of reminds me of that story of just like WWE seeing that deal and hearing about that deal and just going like, well, fuck, they're getting $1 billion. So we should probably ask for more on, TV rights deals for Raw and SmackDown and probably NXT. So, and it just, competition creates cash. That's the best way to put it. Another topic I want to gauge your interest on because I don't think we talked about it. So, another Hall of Famer, Medusa, Alundra Blaze, or whatever you want to call her, she posted on social media, on her Instagram, I believe, where she expressed her disappointment towards Trish Stratus. She said, Trish Stratus made room for the Bella Twins and others, but I built a foundation on the Four Horsewomen, and expressed her frustration on how Stratus's blueprint, which steered the division for years, had to be reworked by the women motivated by the Trailblazers before her. And I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but so basically Medusa, she blames Trish for how she feels that Trish had, I guess, she regressed the women's division on all the quote-unquote hard work that Medusa made, which I talked about with RJ a little bit. Everybody else seems to kind of have the same feeling towards it, which is, why go after Trish? She's... Yeah,
it's not Trish's fault. She was just put into a situation where, she just came in the wrong era. How about that? It came in the middle out to her, TNA, tits and ass, and, and all that stuff. And, her and Lita, and, other handful of women as well, like Ivory and Jazz, and there's some good women there. That kind of, carry the load for, the women's division at the time. But, Medusa, I mean, she came up in a time where women's wrestling was hot. To me, a lot of people was thinking that women's wrestling in the, late 90s, early 2000s or whatnot, it was popular only because of what they look like. Like the Braun Patties matches, but the quality wrestling was shit. The quiet wrestling back in the 90s, like, in the earlier 90s, when you got Medusa versus Bull Nakano and, Miami Toyota, and, they were doing all these great matches in Japan. And even, you had, Medusa, Alundra Blaze, whatever you want to call her, versus Bull Nakano at SummerSlam, which at that time was the greatest WWF women's match ever up until that time. That no one talks about, but WWE likes to write their own history, and they just like to forget about that match for some reason. But that was a fucking fantastic match. I think it was SummerSlam 94 or 95, one or the other. But I digress. Though, back to the point. It's not Trish's fault, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, she probably shouldn't really, say that. I blame Trish for that. No, you can't blame Trish. Blame the writers at the time. Blame Vince. Blame Bruce Pritchard. Blame Vince Russo, who was there during that time as well. So, but yeah, that's what I got for that.
Yeah, to me, it's like how I feel about Chavo Guerrero, shitting on Ray, where it's like, why go after Ray? And for Medusa, why go after Trish? Wrestling, women's wrestling back then, and also in the mid to late, late 90s, early 2000s, and also a lot of the later 2000s, and then of course up until NXT, when Triple H started taking more seriously. It was always seen as more of an attraction, in my opinion. Like, it was always looked at as more of an attraction. Especially in the late 80s, early 90s, when you had Medusa, when you had Bull Nakano, it was seen as an attraction because, again, it's not really me shitting on it. That's just kind of how it was. That's just kind of the facts. And you mentioned, there were some good ones there, but it was always very much a man's thing. Nowadays, it's very much half and half. Whereas on some sides, I would say for the women, it's like 60-40 in some points, but I digress. But it was always very much an attraction. So for Medusa to say all the hard work I put in, maybe I'm overanalyzing it, but I hear that and go, what hard work? Because
I mean, as a pro wrestler, she was leaps and bounds. Well, I probably won't say leaps and bounds better than Trish, but if you would have put Alundra Blaze in the same era as Mel today, she'll be known as one of the best wrestlers today. So, she tried to put forth in that women's division for WWF at that time. I mean, she was wrestling, almost every other Raw in 1994, 1995, and putting on great fucking matches. But again, WWE, they want to, they want to rewrite their own history. They want to pretend like it never existed. Unless you lived back then, unless you actually seen some of those matches, you're going to be like, oh, okay, I get where she's coming from. But if you've never seen those matches, or if you never actually seen her work, then it's going to be like, okay, well, I don't know what you're talking about, because, all I remember is from you dumping the title in WCW, because that's what that's all WWE does.
Well, to be fair, when she talks about regressing, it's like, well, you kind of regress by doing that. I mean, let's just be real.
She had no fucking choice. She even said that Eric Bischoff told her to put that shit in the trash.
Well, I mean, that's on her. But, yeah, just, again, why go after Trish? I mean, Trish in the Divas era of that time, yeah, she was good. I mean, she still is good. She could still work.
Yeah, for sure.
But again, like you just said, why blame her? Blame the writers, blame Vince Russo, who was very much stuck in that. The women need bigger boobs, bro. Bra and panties match in a pudding thing, bro. And same thing with Vince McMahon, same thing with Bruce Pritchard. They all booked that shit like that. And yeah, as young, horny boys, and maybe some girls, we all enjoyed that shit. But, like everybody else, we grew up and we wanted to see something different. And now we got that different with, we still got some beautiful women, but they're beautiful ass-kicking women. We got Rhea Ripley, we got Bianca, what have you. And, it all started with Bailey and Sasha just tearing the house down at fucking TakeOver in 2015? Was it 2015?
Yeah, around there, yeah.
Okay. So
I think it's Strength thing, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So, again, just a very kind of a nothing burger of a story, but it's interesting for conversation. Just going back to the Chavo thing. Chavo just insisting, just trying to say his whole thing with Ray is a work, but it's like, is anyone really interested in seeing Chavo work with Ray? No. Like, really not.
I mean, I don't think he means like, hey, I want to work with Ray. I think it was just like, at the end of the day, I still think he's a piece of shit for saying that. But what I think he meant by that is that, hey, I'm just being a heel on Twitter. That's pretty much it. But at the end of the day, Chavo's still a piece of shit for saying that in the first place. So,
I mean, because me and RJ talked about it over the weekend, where it's just like, the only time Chavo was ever, and we kind of say this as a joke, but at the same time not a joke, the only time Chavo was ever interesting was when he was Kerwin White. Chavo, again, good wrestler, but when was he ever interesting?
When he was Ryan Pepe on WCW,
when he was doing that, when he was teaming up with Eddie, anything involving Eddie, that was the only time Chavo was actually noticed. When it was Chavo,
when he used to wear the Eddie Guerrero was my favorite wrestler T-shirt.
Man, apparently he fucking hated that. Like, Eddie told in his book that Chavo did not want to wear that shirt. Like, he actually pitched a fit in a bar and just, like, said straight up, I'm not wearing that fucking shirt. Until Eddie finally convinced him to wear it. So, yeah. But, yeah, just, again, no one cares about Chavo. No one cares about what Chavo has to say. He's a bitter piece of shit. He is the definition of a bitter piece of shit. And, unfortunately, Ray has done a much better job at carrying on the Guerrero name than Chavo has. Like, yeah. Anyways, so let's talk about John Cena for a bit. So John Cena was on, which podcast was he on? Busted Open Radio, and talked about his body slowing down. He said, I wish I was there. I wish I was still there every day. It's just my body can't take it anymore. I don't want to give the consumer a bad product. What I have is what you saw at WrestleMania 39. That is what I feel confident that I can deliver. And that's really nice for me in there, but that's not every day in WWE. He also noted that that wrestling has raised the bar, and he's humble enough to call that awesome because he was taught to leave the business better than he found it. And what else? I talked about Roman Reigns. It was said that I passed the torch to Roman years ago, and he is absolutely the face of the franchise. In my mind, he's the greatest of all time. And there's another quote. He said something else about Roman. He says, what Roman does, just being affiliated with his energy, he gets so many people over. Like, that's something I can never do, ever, period. And yeah, so Cena just admitting straight up, whenever he does come back, you're not gonna get Big Match John. You're not gonna get Super Cena. You're just gonna get I hate to say it, a subpar John Cena match. But what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, he's older now. I mean, he's not 25 years old anymore. I mean, it's expected. I mean, this happens to everybody. This happened to Hogan. This happened to Flair. It's happened to Macho Man. This happened to Sting. You know what I mean? It's happened to everybody. You know what I mean? So I'm not surprised by it. It's just the way. It's just the lifestyle of professional wrestling. You start off very young, super athletic. You get yourself into a prime. Then you start to decline. Then you start taking time off, and and because of injuries or whatnot, and then you just be doing your 1 or 2 matches a year, and once you get to that point, it's like obviously you're not gonna be the same guy that you were previously. You know what I mean? Look at Undertaker in his last couple of years. You know what I mean? It's pretty much didn't want to see the guy in the ring. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, I'm not surprised by it, obviously, but hopefully he ends on a good note, right? Hopefully he has a retirement match of sorts, and it could be a match against somebody in a feud that makes sense, and he could put on, one more great match. You know what I mean? But, Hollywood is Cena now. Cena is Hollywood now. So I think he should be more focused on that than getting back into the ring, to be quite honest.
There was a report that came out that apparently Roman is getting ready to work even lesser dates, and he's going to make the move to Hollywood. So, which I guess at this time is kind of good timing, because now you got that new title, and eventually he might you'll more than likely drop the titles to Cody. So, do you think Hollywood is a good future for Roman? Like, do you see him doing like the Fast and the Furious, Marvel, DC shits?
He's definitely gonna be in those action movies for sure. So, and the Rock being his cousin too as well. You know that there may be a little bit of how should I say, a little bit of an easier pathway for him to get some of those roles. So,
right. Speaking of another Shield member going to Hollywood, so Seth Rollins is officially part of the MCU. He's already filming scenes for the next Captain America movie, which coincidentally is called New World Order. So he will be playing a villain, wear
their NWO shirt. Like, if I don't see wrestling fans that also like the MCU not wear their NWO shirts when they go to that fucking movie, like, I'm gonna be very fucking upset. I'll be highly disappointed in you wrestling fans out there if you don't wear an NWO shirt.
Oh, like the memes are already made. So if I'm gonna buy an NWO shirt. Matter of fact, there better be an NWO Captain America shirt out there for me. And if it's not, I'm going to make sure I make it. So, Seth Rollins in Hollywood. Roman Reigns pretty soon going to Hollywood. Becky Lynch was rumored for a Marvel role. She didn't really mention what it was, but she said that she was in a movie, but the role got cut. Who else do you see in WWE going to Hollywood? Cody, yeah, he had mentioned that during WrestleMania weekend that he had meetings with several movie studios, and supposedly two of them were, he revealed two of them. One of them was for Johnny Cage in the next Mortal Kombat movie, but that got, I think they went with another actor, and then a Zelda movie. And Cody is a big Zelda fan, so.
Miz. Again, he's in Hollywood already, right?
Yeah, but he does straight to video shit.
That still doesn't matter. Still Hollywood.
well, I'm talking about, like, again, I don't want to sound like a dick, but like just the movies that people actually watch.
Doing movies that matter. I get it.
You know what I mean? Like, Rhea Ripley, I can see like as a henchwoman in like John Wick. Or like. The Joe Numbers from Soup calls on the
No, she's being in a Bond movie. Fuck, she don't need to be in no fucking John Wick. Like, she was being in a Bond movie.
Hey, show some love to John Wick.
It's okay.
Stop.
I like the first one. I definitely like the first one for sure.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, she can be in a Bond movie. Batista was in, the Bond movie that you hate.
Spectre. I loved Mr. Hinks though. Like to me, like Mr. Hinks probably like a top 5 Bond henchman. That's how good he was in that movie. He was the best part of Spectre.
I know MJF is going to be in the Von Erichs movie as I think, what was it, Lance Von Erich, the fake Von Erich?
Yeah,
he's going to be in that.
Yeah, that's a perfect role for MJF too.
Yeah, I know MJF wants to go to Hollywood, so it's good because you want these wrestlers to have it easy. Going over to Hollywood and just not having to put your body through hell. That sounds like a win-win. But Hey,
Bianca Belair, she gives herself another few years. I could see her, being in Hollywood.
She can go to Hollywood, definitely. Who's another one? I mean, Gunther would make like a perfect Bond villain.
Definitely probably not Bond villain, but actually a henchman for sure.
Henchman, there you go. Who's another one? Do you see Austin Theory doing movies?
Absolutely. Not now though. I give him about another 8 years. 7, 8 years. Absolutely though. He needs to build his brand up in WWE first. But absolutely.
Montez Ford, I can see doing like comedy.
Yeah.
I'm surprised the New Day guys haven't done comedy.
Yeah. Well, Xavier, he got got himself on G4. It's not Hollywood, but it's
right. But I mean, like on like a television show, like because Big E is funny. Like I can see Big E, being on a television show or a movie, or same thing with Xavier. I mean, I think Big E's more funny personally, but L.A. Knight seems like he'd be perfect for movies. But I mean, he's a little past his prime, but he seems like he'd do okay. Yeah, I mean,
L.A. Knight was in something, and I can't. God, man, he was in something.
He was on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
There you go. That's what it was.
Right, he came out for just a scene where Terry Crews' character was officiating a wedding at a gym.
Yeah, that's what it was. I knew it was a TV show. I just couldn't think of what it was. That's what it was.
And then Goldberg was randomly on an episode of SVU. Like he was high on some kind of drug. And like nobody could stop him.
Goldberg has his own movie too. He has a horror movie.
Yeah, Santa Slay or Slay
Santa
something.
Slay.
That he was on an episode of The Flash. What else was he on? Oh, he was in that one of the Universal Soldier movies.
Yep.
As Steve Austin. He's in a lot of shit. He was on Nash Bridges. And a bunch of other shit. So, but yeah, there's a lot of wrestlers that are looking to make the way out of wrestling and go to Hollywood, which hey, I don't blame them. The money's in Hollywood. But speaking of another wrestler that we might not see for a while, or might not see again, Randy Orton. Cowboy Bob Orton had talked about Randy's recovery process. He was on Sportskeeda, or he was speaking on Sportskeeda. He said, he's training, so we'll see what happens. I don't know. If he feels ready to go back, I think he might, but again, he's pretty well taken care of. I don't think he needs to, and I think the doctors have told him not to. But Randy will do what Randy wants to do. End quote. So Randy apparently might not come back.
I call bullshit on that.
He hasn't been on TV since, July 17th?
Yeah.
Which was my birthday, actually. When him and Riddle lost the tag titles. But, I mean, I'm kind of like you. I call bullshit. I think if Randy was going to retire, he would say it. Obviously, like, he would come on TV and say, I got to retire. Kind of sucks, though, because this most recent run with Randy I was enjoying. He seemed like he actually wanted to be there and he was actually having fun. But, Randy is 43, he's going to be 44 this year. And let's hypothetically, say if Randy did have to call it quits, where would you put him on like your top 20, top 50, top 100 if you had to pick?
All time. Top 30.
Okay.
Probably lower half top 30. 29 or something like that. 28.
I'd probably go for that. I'd probably do top 20, top 50. Top 20, top 30. That's fair to say. But, Randy, I don't think he's calling it quits. If he's gonna go out, he's gonna go out on his own terms. But what did he have though? Was it like a back injury? Is what he had?
Yeah, back injury.
It must be some back injury. But yeah, I mean, hopefully it's good news. Hopefully he does come back. I mean, we got a lot going on in the company. We have the new world title. We have the brand split. I mean, he could possibly feud with Cody. I mean, because we didn't even get to see him feud with Roman. I mean, they feuded before, but they never really. I don't think they've had like a proper feud. That would have been interesting to see at least, but we're pulling for Randy on this one. Let's see what else. Pat McAfee officially moving to ESPN in a multi-million-dollar deal. The New York Post is reporting that McAfee has accepted an extremely lucrative offer from ESPN, said to be a multi-million-dollar deal that is reportedly 8 figures, to bring his popular Pat McAfee show to the network. ESPN owner Disney is rumored to be bringing McAfee to their Upfronts presentation on Tuesday to announce the deal, which will release McAfee from his 4-year, $120 million contract, with his current sponsor, FanDuel, which was in its 2nd year. McAfee's show will reportedly remain on YouTube in some capacity. McAfee will be retaining the crew that produces his YouTube show, and they will be joining ESPN. There is no word on what this means for McAfee's already limited responsibilities in WWE. McAfee is an occasional broadcaster and wrestler, usually appearing on WWE's Big Four pay-per-views like the Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. And yeah, so McAfee's looking like he's going to making the big bucks with ESPN, but might not even come back to WWE. Which, if he doesn't, I'm going to be sad because I like Pat. I love Pat. I loved his energy on the announce booth. But hey, if fucking Disney's offering you a shit ton of money for your show, you'd be a fool not to take it. But what do you think about Pat?
Good for him, man. He deserves it. He's one of the most popular sports personalities out there today. I mean, he deserves every dollar that he gets. You know, think about someone who was a punter in the NFL. You know, punters and kickers never get love or recognition, but he created his own brand out of it and proved that he's a damn good athlete as well. You know, what does it mean for WWE? I mean, to me, I think he's. There's always going to be a partnership with him in WWE in some fashion because he loves Triple H, he loves Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon loves Pat. You know what I mean? So, there's always going to be some relationship there. So maybe they'll have like a match every now and then, and it's not like he's like a full-time athlete where like his dedication will have to be towards his craft. Like he just does his fucking podcast. He goes on College Game Day and. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to be on, you know, he may do, like, some special commentary work for, like, you know, Monday Night Football and shit, but, you know, outside of that, I mean, you know, good for him. He deserves it.
And just, like you said, Vince does love him. I mean, the story from Rip Rogers was that on Pat's first day with the company, which was on a pre-show for Mania, he was wearing shorts. Like, you know, jorts or, like, you know, dress pants, shorts, or whatever you want to call them. And Vince hated it, and he cussed him out. Like, he said, why are you wearing shorts? And apparently Pat just told him, like, fuck you, I'll do whatever I want. And Vince just went, okay.
Yeah.
He just went, okay.
Hard off of that.
All right, like, Vince, I think Vince, at the end of the day, loves when people stand up to him and just say, fuck you, I'll do whatever I want. And he's like, okay, do whatever you want. But, good on Pat, but I'm still going to be a little sad that we're not going to hear him on the regular on SmackDown because he made Michael Cole interesting. And Michael Cole, you know, said the same thing. Like, he reinvigorated my passion, you know, for commentating. And you know,
honestly, I think Pat McAfee should be. You know, like how you have like you know, special attractions as far as like in wrestlers. He should be a special attraction commentator. He doesn't need to be there every week. Have him do like the Big Four pay-per-view. You know what I mean?
Right.
and make it because that would just that'll make pay-per-views better automatically, and also B, you know, his excitement is gonna make the matches even better as well coming off on TV. So
right, I mean, because like for the longest time, all we were getting was just Vince McMahon's version of commentating, which is, you know, talk really loud, but just sound very robotic at the same time. Whereas Pat just got away with a lot of shit. And it just, again, going back to what I said, like Vince just let him do whatever the fuck he wanted. So, other news, so WWE and UFC's new merge, they will be known as TKO Group Holdings. The new whale has been knocked out, and a new permanent name has been chosen for the soon-to-be merged WWE and UFC hybrid company. CNBC is reporting that what was temporarily known as New Whale Inc. will now be known going forward as TKO Group Holdings, with the TKO acronym meaning Technical Knockout, paying homage to both WWE and UFC's shared combat sports lineages. And then, yeah, just pretty much telling us what we already know. The new company will be listed on the New York Stock Exchange as TKO. The merger between the two companies will make TKO Group Holdings worth an estimated $20 billion. Jeez. But, yeah, we got that going on. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, love the name TKO. I don't really have anything to say, but I like the name though. I mean, it's not gonna be going down until the towards the end of the year. So got plenty of time for new developments for this.
Right, but so with the new partnership between WWE and Jesus Christ, my headphones popped out. Okay, with the new partnership with WWE and UFC, do you think, just judging by what we saw at the Backlash pay-per-view, and do you think UFC is kind of given a more leniency as far as like, be a little bit more edgy? You can use blood. Like, do you?
No. I think that was just a sense of Brock Lesnar being not being Brock Lesnar, but Brock Lesnar can do whatever the fuck he wants. You know what I mean? So I hope we get to see more blood on the regular. You know what I mean? Not as much as AEW, obviously, but like just when it matters. But I mean, I think just that situation. I think that was just a happy accident that happened. Even though I think Brock really I think he did that shit to himself on purpose, in my opinion. But but at the end of the day, though, I don't really see it just because UFC's involved now and like, oh, let's get blood on WWE again. I think the two companies, they're the same but different in their own ways. Like, you gotta remember, WWE, is still technically a PG product. They're still technically, with Mattel. Mattel's a very very G type of company to be around. Like, they didn't get their partnership with Mattel until WWE went PG. So, and I mean, honestly, I don't really see that changing much as far as the presentation in matches. But I could be wrong. About that. But just for what I'm seeing right now, I don't really see that, because if that's the case, we will start seeing some of those changes starting to sprinkle in already.
I mean, I think they kind of are. I mean, not just the Brock Lesnar Backlash thing, but last Friday on SmackDown when Bobby Lashley bled during the match, because he got that cut on the top of his head, and then it got reopened later in the night against AJ. So usually in the past, like, even if you had like a cut on your lip, they would have to stop the match because the doctor would need to, not the doctor, but the referee would need to stop the match to kind of fix it. Same thing at Mania when, Finn got that gash on his head. They had to stop the match to fix it, which in his case, that shit was like fucking wide open. He literally split his wig. So I can understand that.
I mean, Brock, well, obviously I'm not going to be touching Brock either, but Brock was fucking pissing blood out of his head too. So, but again, I will not touch Brock Lesnar in that case. Like, he can have like a fucking wound the size of fucking Texas. Like, I'm not gonna go near him.
Right. I mean, I'm not comparing wounds. I mean, because Brock, there's clearly people in the company that can do whatever the fuck they want, and Brock is one of them. If Brock wants to bleed, if Brock wants to come out on live television and say fuck, fuckity, fuck, he can, and no one's going to do shit about it because he's Brock Lesnar. If Roman wants to do it, he can. If Cena, if The Rock wants to do it, they certainly can. But I think Finn's was a lot more dangerous because he probably could have gotten an infection. Whereas Brock's, it was like more above his eye. Again, I'm not trying to compare wounds or anything, but it also comes down to it's Brock Lesnar. So I'm not going to try and I'm not going to touch Brock Lesnar like you just said. But yeah, just again, it's just wishful thinking on my part that we can get a more edgier product. Last bit of news, the Von Erich brothers, their contracts with MLW are expired. They are now free agents. So we've had this conversation before about the Von Erich. So realistically, where do you see them going?
They may go to Japan. So I'll do this. I'll rank these in order. Not by what I want, but what I think. I think Japan 1, 2 AEW, 3 WWE. I want them to go to WWE because that'll be a fresh new tag team. And that would be something that would be great for WWE, is to get like a brand new, like a real fucking tag team to come into NXT. But I think Japan would be a great spot for them. They can continue to build their craft. They're young enough to explore the world and for them to perfect their craft. I think Japan would be a great option for them. In reference to that, you got a lot of great teams there in New Japan that they can go up against. But yeah, that's my prediction for them.
I wouldn't be surprised if they went to Japan just so they can kind of hone their craft and see the world first. Because AJ went to Japan for, a year and a half before he came to WWE because he wanted to improve and get better. Other stars did it. Other stars went to Japan to kind of see the world and get better before they went to other big name companies. So, it wouldn't surprise me if he went to New Japan. I would love if they came to WWE. Triple H, that seems like, just knowing the student of the game, pun intended, that he is, he would love to have the fucking Von Erichs in NXT or in WWE in some capacity. I wouldn't be surprised if they went to AEW. My worry is just like everybody else. What are they going to do with them? How are they going to book them? Because kind of like the women.
You can say that about anywhere. Even if they come to WWE, we know how they treat tag teams in the past as well. So you'd be worried about wherever they go to, like even Japan too. Sometimes if you go to Japan, sometimes they don't shake out well there as well. So you'd be worried for any of those three situations. I think is valuable. Right,
but with again, I'm going to sound like an AEW hater and a WWE dick sucker, but it's just like with WWE, you can at least say, especially now with the Triple H regime, tag team wrestling as well as like women's tag team wrestling, which we both agree there probably shouldn't be women's tag team belts, but I digress. They would probably be treated a lot better. And Triple H, knowing that he loves old school wrestling, and he probably 9 times out of 10 is a fan of the Von Erichs, or was a fan of the Von Erichs, he's gonna try and treat them like they're stars. Look what he's doing with Braun. They treat Braun like a star. And he's probably going to get that star treatment when he gets to the main roster. If they go to AEW, it's just, there's that worry of they're going
to get lost in the shuffle. I think that they definitely will get lost in the shuffle in AEW, so I'm not complaining there.
Right, it's just like kind of like with everybody else that gets brought in. It's just like you're either with the Elite or you're with, Britt Baker's group. Any tag team always gets lost in the shuffle because it's either about the Young Bucks or nobody else. But it's just, again, that's my worry. But I mean, yeah, you said you're always gonna. You can be worried about them going anywhere. You can get worried about them going to New Japan, or dare I say, Impact Wrestling. But I mean, wherever they go, they're going to be great. They're a great tag team, and I just hope for the best. And that's really all the news I have. I guess we can review SmackDown and Raw if you want to.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, we really probably should be reviewing it a lot more. So, I mean, yeah, we'll try to review the shows a lot more. So, we'll start with SmackDown, which was last Friday. The big tidbits: Reigns takes the reins on the Family's Tag Team Legacy. That's the title on CBS. So Roman Reigns came out and addressed his family. He said the Usos are the problem, and they need to apologize. And he got in, Jimmy's grill and pie-faced him, and then that's when Jay stepped in and says, "We're sorry, Tribal Chief." So Jay's back to being a beta for Roman, which, I mean, that's obviously going to lead to what we think it's going to lead to. And then, Roman said, the tag team titles are coming back to the Bloodline, but it's not going to be the Usos that bring it back. It's going to be Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. So it's going to be Solo Sikoa Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens at Night of Champions, which you can almost pretty much smell of some fuckery. Because
absolutely.
The 27th, which is going to be next Saturday, which is almost crazy to think about that we're coming at the end of May.
Jesus.
And we're reaching the middle of the year. I just lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, the 27th, next Saturday is going to be 1,000 days for Roman Reigns as Universal Champion. And that's where the Usos come in, because the Usos are going to try and come in and try to help, quote unquote, Roman and Solo win. But what they're really going to do is fuck him over. So that's going to be the storyline, heading in after Night of Champions, is Roman yelling at the Usos like, "You ruined my big day. Like, this was all about me and you fucked it over. Like, I fucking hate you." Like, he's basically just going to be, I hate to say it, any teenage girl on My Sweet 16. This day was all about me! Like, that could be Roman. But, what do you think about the segment? What do you think about the eventual match and storyline outcome? Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of two things are going to happen. Either they're going to win the tag team titles, or obviously the Usos are going to play in the finish. Now a lot of people are talking about this. Why all of a sudden? What happened? I need to know. I need to know on why is Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens wrestling in Saudi?
That's what I was going to ask, because I'm surprised that they were able to get Sami.
Well, not necessarily Kevin Owens, but really Sami Zayn.
Right. I mean, unless there's going to be a swerve, or unless they really kind of squash the beef, which sounds silly to say because this is more of a political thing rather than.
Yeah, I'm about to say, I don't know about that, but
I mean, because if anyone doesn't know, Sami is Syrian, and Syrians are a no-no in Saudi Arabia, apparently. And he's been very vocal about Saudi Arabia in the past. So, again, we're not sure what's going to happen. Maybe there's going to be a swerve. Maybe they did figure out a deal to bring him in. I don't know. We don't know. But that's kind of the interesting thing. But overall, this is going to be a fuckery at the match. There's fuckery afoot, definitely.
100%. But it's just to to me, I don't care about the match. I don't care about the actual match itself. I just want to know what the result of the match is going to be. The match is going to be good. It's going to be a good match. But honestly, Kevin and Sami has fucking their momentum is. Whew. Everyone's momentum after WrestleMania has waned. Every single talent, other than Rhea Ripley. Other than Rhea, I think Rhea and Judgment Day. I think they're and the LWO. Those two groups right there, their popularity, is either increased or has been the same. But
kind of disagree. I mean, I agree on the Judgment Day. I agree on Rhea. Even though with Rhea, I kind of want her to just kind of be her own person rather than just be a member of the Judgment Day. Not to say I don't want her in the Judgment Day, because her and Dom are great together, but it seems like a lot of the time she's just a member of the Judgment Day rather than, being her.
Oh, I disagree with that. I disagree. A lot of people see Rhea as Rhea, but again, too, like you need to be, how should I say, that makes the group important, and that also makes Rhea important as well, because we already know Rhea's the best right now going for the women's division in WWE. To me personally, I don't feel that she's just another member of the group. I don't feel that way. I mean, I'm not saying all the time. I'm saying there are times where she just feels like she's just a member of the group. You know what I mean? Like she should kind of be doing her own thing for the most part. But at the same time, don't take her away from Dom, because her and Dom are gold together. So you want her out of Judgment Day, but still have a relationship with Dom? I don't know how to put it. Like, I still want her in Judgment Day. I just don't want them to make her seem like she's just a member of the group, because she's clearly the star of the group, and they need to treat her like a star rather than just have her come out and just stand there with the title. She's the star of the group, but she's not the leader of the group. I kind of disagree. I think she's she's not the leader of the group. Like on TV, they don't make her the leader of the group. They make Finn Balor the leader of the actual group. Which, I mean, whether you agree or not, that's how WWE is portraying it. You know what I mean? I mean, to be fair, Damien is probably more of a leader of the group. No, he's to me personally. I don't. Now, Damien's stock has went up too as well after that Bad Bunny match for sure. Oh yeah, definitely. But I mean, as far as like everybody else's momentum, I mean, definitely Sami Zayn and Kevin, especially Sami. I mean, Cody's Cody. Cody's still a star. His momentum's waned just a little bit. I'm not saying I don't like him no more or anything like that. I love him. He still gets big pops, right? The crowd's right over. I'm just saying that what he's being portrayed as on television, that momentum's kind of slowed down just a smidge. Not a lot though. Again, kind of disagree. Agree to disagree, but yeah, just there have been a few people whose momentum has kind of slowed down. I was going to say Austin Theory, but I mean, there wasn't really a lot of momentum going into that CENA match, and that match with CENA just kind of came and went. Like it happened. Yeah, Austin Theory hasn't done anything since that. Right. And I mean, now that he's on SmackDown, he's going to get more of a star treatment. The Bloodline is still going to be over, but I think the stuff with the Usos is kind of like, how do I put it? Like, I can tell where it's going, but it feels like it's regressing somehow. Whereas, like, we know where it's going, but it feels like we're just going back to square one where we were with the Usos, where it's just like Jay was against Roman, then he was with Roman, then he was against Roman, now he's with Roman again. And now Jimmy's pissed off at Roman again. So I just, just either shit or get off the pot. Like, do something. Like, we know it's going to happen, but just do it already. But, so with the rest of SmackDown, the first match of the night was the other triple threat match, or one of the two triple threat matches. AJ Styles defeating Edge and Rey Mysterio. And a really good match, actually. Yeah, it was very good. Other than the Edge botching that last spot with Rey, still a great match. AJ winning. Yeah, you thought it was. You said it was a good match, right? Yeah. No, I thought both triple threat matches were good. I think the first triple threat match for sure was It could have been better, obviously, right? I thought it could have been better, but I wasn't upset by it whatsoever. But my prediction, I predicted AJ, so I'm glad that went through.
Right, and then Bobby Lashley won the second triple threat against Theory and Sheamus. Like I mentioned earlier, Bobby got cut, and you face AJ later in the night. And I like both guys. I wasn't mad about the outcome. Glad AJ won. I would have been nice if Bobby won. Give Bobby something. But AJ won, of course. And
AJ's been out for a while. He just came back.
Right, but it's one of those things of just like I love Bobby Lashley. Like I'm a Bobby Lashley fan. I love AJ too. I'm an AJ mark. But AJ's been out for a while, and you want to give him something. So good for AJ. Cameron Grimes.
I'll say this. I think AJ may win against Seth Rollins. I think he may win.
I was going to ask you that. So there's a report that's coming out that AJ might win, and also with the news of Seth, doing a movie, which granted he's not going to have a huge role in it, but it's still a pretty big movie. And pretty soon, they're going to do like press tour, and maybe he'll do other movies. But what do you think about that? Do you think they will give him the title even though he's doing movies?
I don't even think it has anything with Seth doing movies or whatever. It could, but I think this is more of how can we get Cody on SmackDown? I think the draft and everything was all deliberate because in a real kayfabe shoot sense, whatever you want to call it, right? Roman's first. Wow, I gotta get Cody here. Cody's the second biggest star in the company. You get Cody second. You get Cody on SmackDown. We'll have AJ winning. AJ and they'll see go to Raw in exchange for Cody Rhodes. Because if I was one of these Raw general managers or or one of these managers or leaders back there, quote unquote, kayfabe, right? I will be like, I'm okay. We need AJ. That's our time. We need AJ. Let's do a trade. And if I'm a SmackDown guy, I'm like, okay, we'll trade AJ, but you gotta give us Cody. We want Cody. That's how I would kind of explain it. I know it's a little bit detailed, but I think it's a perfect situation to get Cody over to SmackDown. And when the draft concept came up, they did mention trades can happen, and I think that'll be a great thing to do. Is to get Cody on over there, so that way he doesn't have to win Money in the Bank. He doesn't have to win fucking the Royal Rumble again. All he needs to do is just challenge. Or not even challenge Roman. He could just he could go through a gauntlet, whatever the fuck he needs to do. But wherever he needs to do, he doesn't. Now, it opens up Money in the Bank for other guys like LA Knight and fucking Damian Priest or Finn Balor or somebody like that. So, do the trade. Have AJ win, do the trade. If you have Seth win, I'm not mad about that. It's just that we know the ending is gonna be Cody versus Roman, maybe at WrestleMania. Probably not SummerSlam now because it's looking kind of slim at this point, in my opinion, for SummerSlam. But yeah, you have more options if you have AJ win for across the board for the company.
Right, and also it seems way too obvious that Seth is gonna win.
Oh wait, so obvious.
Yeah, because it was like at Mania, with Cody. Whereas like we were thinking in our head, it's like if they're going to give it to Cody, it's going to seem way too obvious, and it might be undeserving, and you're going to want to save that for a later date. And eventually, Cody did lose. For Seth, it's just like he has all this momentum, and people love him, and people sing his fucking song. Again, I wouldn't be mad if Seth won. I wouldn't be mad if AJ won. So I just, again, way too obvious. Maybe that's the thing. I mean, that might be the only thing, or maybe it's the thing about him doing movies.
And what's also making it more obvious too, as well, is that Raw Monday, WWE, it was fucking incredible. Not incredible, but it was really good. The sit down interview with Seth Rollins, just covering covering his career in WWE. You know what I mean? So even with that, it's kind of making it super obvious too. So,
That was good, and I'm looking forward to anything to do with AJ. If they do like a sit down interview with AJ on Friday, that'd be fucking awesome.
Now, if they don't do a sit down interview with AJ on Friday, that increases AJ's chances, I think. I think it increases AJ's chances because, again, they're just trying to make it all about Seth, all about Seth, all about Seth, all about Seth to make us think that Seth is actually going to win, and boom, have AJ win. And Triple H reportedly said that they want to make a splash with this new World Heavyweight Championship as well. So, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what they do.
You got that right. Sorry, I was yawning. I'm tired. Rest of SmackDown, we got some debuts. Cameron Grimes made his debut on the main roster by squashing Baron Corbin. So good for Cameron Grimes. Got to see him on television. World Tag Team Championships, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defeated Damage Control Bayley and Dakota Kai. Brawling Brutes meet Pretty Deadly. Pretty Deadly make their debut on the main roster. And they will debut next week, or this coming Friday, I mean. Asuka ruined Bianca Belair's hometown celebration by spitting mist in her face, and Bianca just sold the shit out of it. So that was funny.
Yeah, she sounded like she was on fire.
Right, like she was acting like that was like acid. Like she had literal acid on her fucking face. Like, good for her. Good for her for selling that shit. And yeah, that was pretty much the show. I guess overall, what'd you think of SmackDown on last Friday?
It was decent. It wasn't great or anything like that, but it was passable.
Yeah, it was an alright show. And then with Raw, this past Monday, Sami Zayn and the Judgment Day battled... Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens opened the show. Judgment Day come out to talk a little bit of shit. It was kind of funny, where I think it was either Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn that was like, why don't we ask Dominic what he thinks? And just the whole place starts booing him. And then Kevin just goes, all right, I'm done with this. We can't hear what he's saying. Can I just punch him in the face already? I thought that was funny. And later on the night, you had Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus Damian Priest and Finn Balor. But the other stuff getting to it. So Nakamura defeated Miz. Nakamura looking pretty good. See a planned women's tag team match. Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville were supposed to wrestle for the women's tag team championships, but Liv Morgan had an injury on Friday, so that got kiboshed. Mustafa Ali won a battle royal to become the number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship against Gunther at Night of Champions. How do you feel about that, about Mustafa winning?
He only won because it's in Saudi.
Right. I mean, Mustafa's not Saudi. I mean, I put it out there. I'm like, so they seriously gave Mustafa the match because it's in Saudi.
That's all I'm at. It's gonna be, now, don't get me wrong, it's gonna be a great match. Like, I really think it's gonna be a really damn good match. But yeah, he only won because, and again, another fucking free agent just won a match. So is he officially Raw now?
I guess.
That's 2 times in 2 weeks where we have, free agents winning, so does this mean that he's gonna get signed to our brand now? Like, come on. Let's try and make sense of this here.
Right. I mean, because like I was kind of going for Matt Riddle. I thought Riddle and Gunther would have been interesting. I mean, Bronson Reed and Gunther would have been interesting. But yeah, they gave it to Ali because it's like what they did with Mansoor. They gave Mansoor, time on the pay-per-views because it was Saudi. So, I mean, again, I'm not gonna bitch about it. I'm not gonna lose sleep about it. It'll probably be an entertaining match. But this just calling a spade a spade. Becky Lynch cut a promo about Trish Stratus. Natalya confronted Rhea Ripley backstage, saying, you're too good to beat down Dana Brooke, which I digress. I think anyone can beat down Dana Brooke. But whatever. Dominic defeated Xavier Woods, which I don't know why they're wrestling again. Cody Rhodes cut a promo about Brock Lesnar, which I actually thought was a pretty good promo. I thought it was interesting at the end, towards the end, when he said to Brock, "You're no longer the next big thing. You're just in my way," which I like that. Because I looked at it as more as Cody is done being, humble, respectful Cody. He's just like, I need to get where I need to be, and you're in my way. But yeah, Cody's still getting chance. He's still getting reactions. Still the most over babyface in the company. There's no denying that. Raquel Rodriguez defeated Chelsea Green. Earlier in the night, Imperium met up with Paul Heyman to kind of form a temporary alliance, as it seems, to maybe do some damage to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, I'm assuming next week, before Night of Champions. Finn Balor and Damian Priest defeated Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens via pinfall with, I guess, some fuckery from the rest of Judgment Day and Imperium. I don't like the fact that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are losing matches. Granted, they're non-title matches, but it's just like... And I know people are going to say, well, they're going to lose. They always lose. It's like, but they shouldn't lose. They shouldn't be losing.
Your champions, no matter who they are, heel or face, should not be losing, period, on TV.
Clean as a sheet.
The only time that they should be losing is for those titles themselves. Other than that, you need to build them up as champions. This is why people don't get emotionally invested in champions, because if they lose on fucking TV, why should we care for them as champions?
Right, it's like what you just said. Like, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens have lost so much momentum since Mania, and they were one of the main events. So it's just, why are they losing matches? They should not be losing matches. I don't care if it's fuckery. They should not be losing matches. And people are going to make the case, well, they're going to win a Night of Champions, but they're still fucking losing matches. And at this point, nobody cares about the match. They care about the moment. Which, it almost seems like, I just thought of this. While I was saying that, I just thought about that. Where a lot of Sami Zayn's biggest matches in this Bloodline storyline, the matches I've seen very irrelevant, where the moment is more important than the matches. You know what I mean? Like the Royal Rumble spot with Owens and Reigns. Was it a good match? I mean, yeah, it was a good match, but we've seen those two wrestle 1,000 times before. The moment meant more. The match at Montreal at Elimination Chamber, it was a great match, but the moment meant more than the match. Same thing with the WrestleMania.
I think for that one, cause I slightly disagree on that. I think the match itself was the moment for me, at least. Yeah, I mean, obviously, what you had like after too as well, but I think just like that, that the crowd in that match and thinking that Sammy's gonna win or he have a chance to win that match, but that's just my opinion. Right.
I mean, I actually did enjoy the match, but I think the crowd and just the moment kind of superseded the match, because we all knew Sammy was going to lose, but the crowd was just so into it. Like, Montreal was loving Sammy. I mean, Sammy was on the fucking poster. The whole event was just primarily for him. They all love Sammy. Like, Sammy was God there. But and then the night one of WrestleMania, the match good? Yeah, the match was good, but the moment meant more at the end of the day. And a lot of this run with Sammy has just been moments. Which, again, is that a bad thing? Not really. It's a good thing. Moments matter. I mean, we compare to contrast, the Attitude Era to Ruthless Aggression last week, where, we both said that a lot of the Ruthless Aggression was about moments rather than work rate, whereas Ruthless Aggression was more about work rate. So, we need moments in wrestling. So, but yeah, just, I hate the fact that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are losing so many matches. Like, I don't see what the grand scheme of things in this is. I really don't. But But that was Monday Night Raw. I guess another side fact: Vindashir debuted, which good. You got two big guys in the tag team division, and another thing is JD McDonough made his debut in the Battle Royal. Went after Dolph Ziggler, so that's going to be his first big feud. After which he got interviewed, and while he was walking out, you just see Finn Balor just nonchalantly show up in the background. And
wonder who called that one.
Right. I mean, that's the rumor, is that WWE wants to bring in a new member to Judgment Day, and I guess we already know who it is. And apparently WWE wants to bring in a new member to Imperium, and the talk is that it's Dragunov.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't mind that.
Which I don't mind that. I think that actually what I would probably do is have him as a temporary member and have Ilya take the title, the Intercontinental title of Gunther. That'd be great.
I mean, yeah, because it's believable, because they can say the only guy to ever actually beat Gunther is Ilya, and yada yada yada. Like, you can do that. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, I guess if
there's a story there for it,
But that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all the news. That's well, Savage, I don't watch Dynamite's. Dynamite's currently on. I think it's already over. Dynamite's actually been over.
It's been over
time.
for like 30 minutes.
But yeah, I don't review Dynamite, Savage, unfortunately. I'm the AEW hater, supposedly. But so what did happen on Dynamite, Justin?
I can bring it up. I was watching Dynamite here in the background. It was a very eventful show, I will say that. But let me get the actual notes up real quick. So that way. Is this it? This is tonight, right? Yeah. All right. So, Dynamite start off with God damn it, Bleacher Report. Dynamite start off with Christian Cage laying and Luchasaurus laying out Wardlow. Wardlow came out to do a promo at the beginning of the show. Basically, Wardlow saying that, hey, I dare you to come do what you were going to say last week. Come spit in my face. And, Christian did come out. He laid out, Christian and Luchasaurus laid out Wardlow. There was a ladder that was involved. So now your match, your TNT title match at Jesus Christ, Double or Nothing is going to be Christian versus Wardlow in a ladder match. So, there you go. Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin versus Lee Moriarty and Big Bill. The babyfaces win. It was a fairly decent match. Big Bill looked very impressive here in the match. Cassidy looked good. Allin looked good. Moriarty, I don't really see what the big deal about him is, but he did okay in the match. Sammy Guevara versus Exodus Prime. It was just a fucking squash match. Then he cut a promo about, being in the four-way match for the AEW Championship. So, nothing big there. Hikaru Shida and Britt Baker versus the Outcasts, Toni Storm and Ruby Soho. The heels won this match here. Britt Baker looked kind of sloppy in this match. We'll just say that, but basically the match ended with Soho sprays in the eyes of Baker. They're the spray that they're using. So Tony kind of announced Collision and some of the dates for Collision. So the official calendar for that. Roderick Strong, brand new AEW signee versus Chris Jericho in a Falls Count Anywhere match. Roderick Strong wins this one. This was a good match. This was a very good match. For it to be Falls Count Anywhere, like eventually they ended up getting like fucking, whipped cream on their faces. Like I guess there was like some pies or some shit out there in the arena, but it was a very good brawl. Very good brawl. Jungle Boy versus Roosh. Jungle Boy beat Roosh. So that's all you need to know. Jungle Boy beat Roosh. And in your main event, Ricky Starks versus Jay White. Main event match, not the main event of the show, but very good match. In disqualification though. So Starks used a chair on White. Juice Robinson got involved in the match, which led to White, since he was by himself, he used a chair. Starks used a chair to White, I'm sorry. And White picks up the win. And your main event angle, we hear from Don Callis. Obviously, as you know, Don Callis turned heel on Kenny Omega last week. And basically came out, did a promo, saying, why he turned on Kenny Omega. And it was super rushed though. It was super rushed from what I was seeing here. It seemed super rushed. And basically here, Don Callis took credit for creating Kenny Omega, and the fans were chanting, "We want the elite" and all that stuff. So Kenny Omega came down. The Blackpool Comic Club came and attacked Kenny Omega from behind. Then all of a sudden, you hear the Young Bucks music, who got attacked earlier from the Blackpool Comic Club. So they came out selling their injuries. And a returning Hangman Adam Page comes out, and he has a red eye patch because obviously he got hit with the screwdriver in the eye. So the red eye patch looked pretty cool on him, I must say. And it looks like Double or Nothing. It looks like we're going to have an Anarchy in the arena match. So it looks like we're going to have the Blackpool Comic Club versus the Elite. Where does Takeshita reside? I think he's going to turn heel at this point in time. But that was it. It was just a run-of-the-mill Dynamite. Wasn't terrible, obviously. It wasn't like one of the best Dynamites ever, but, mid-tier Dynamite at the end of the day. So, hopefully, what was that? Oh, okay.
Well, he said it was a mid-Dynamite, so I just wanted to play that.
Gotcha. But, mid-tier Dynamite. I mean, it wasn't bad, but, it was, I would say that there was some very good traction. I think the ending was very strong ending, because they're setting up Double or Nothing pretty nice now. So, which I think the Anarchy and the rematch should main event, honestly, over the Four Pillars match. But what do I know? What do I know?
We know an awful lot, Justin. Don't sell yourself short. You know everything about anything. But that is the show, guys. Very short show tonight, but we'll be back next week with a very packed show. We will be doing our predictions for Night of Champions, as well as Battleground, which will be on Sunday, and Double or Nothing on Sunday. So it's going to be a nice weekend to be a wrestling fan. And of course, on Friday, we'll be doing the Q&A. We're not going to do it on Saturday because it's the day of a show, day of a pay-per-view. So we'll be doing it on Friday. And just make sure you got your questions. Make sure you're sending in your questions. However many you want. Just remember, as soon as the show starts, that is the deadline. That is when the deadline ends. So do not send in questions while the show is recording. But anyways, guys, this is a fun show, nice little show, and we'll try to review like the Friday, Monday, and the Friday and Monday shows. I haven't really sat down to watch NXT as of late.
I didn't watch last night. I was on a high because of Wemby, so.
Oh yeah,
I was buzzing about that. I did see a little bit of NXT though. I saw like the ending or whatnot, but For what I saw, it wasn't really much of anything though. But I'm back on it. I'm back on it next week for sure.
Yeah, and NXT is just it's hard to watch at times. I mean, there's good shit, and Maurice is saying it's been good this week. So I mean, I'll definitely sit down to watch it. I'll give it a watch on Tuesdays, when it does come out. But just don't expect too many Dynamite reviews from me. So Justin will have to be the guy that takes that bullet for me. So
yeah, I don't know if I want to do that either. I mean, no, I like Dynamite, I really do, but like I don't, if no one wants to actually want to hear about it, I mean, why should we waste our time on it? I watch Dynamite and I like it, and I love it for what it is, but if no one wants to talk about it, then not saying for Drew, but I'm saying like just so you guys know, like why we're gonna waste our time on it if you guys don't even care for us to hear our opinion about it,
Right, but we like to try and review everything as much as we can. But next Wednesday will be a packed show, same time, same channel, and then Friday the Q&A, same time, same channel. We'll see you there, guys. And what else can we say? But have a good weekend and peace.
Peace out.